last week in the Ukrainian Hockey League, the UHL, Andrei Denyskin. Sorry if I say any of the following names wrong. By the way, I'm not very well fluent in Ukrainian or any of names like that. He's a forward for HC Kremenchuk. He made a gesture of peeling and eating a banana towards Jalen Semerek, who is a black hockey player. He's a defenseman for HC Donbass Donetsk. Semerek has since taken away from the game, a step away from the game, saying that I will not play another game in the Ukrainian Hockey League until Andrei Denyskin is suspended and removed from the league. Now, as of recording, and last time I checked, I don't think that Semerek has actually said anything to do with the suspension, and aka the suspension it's 3 plus 10 games. Now, originally people believed that he could pay a fine that was around, if you put into US dollars, $18 to $2,000. Gord Miller then had a report today saying that is not the case and that sort of information was being mishandled, even though the guy who said that was the case was, I think, the GM of the UHL. And just for any, to give you a sense of again, a blatant racist act, 13 games, I will point out, the UHL season is normally 40 games. I don't know if it's shortened this year, but any other season I've looked up of theirs is 40. So he is basically rounding a little bit here, only 25% of their games. Sorry, yeah, barely even that, for his actions. I don't think I need to ask you guys how you felt about the event because it's clearly disgusting is one more way of saying it. But your reaction rather, and I'll start with you here, Daniel, to the suspension being 3 plus 10, 13 games for what he did.
Yeah, I don't know. It was for what the reaction. I think the reaction to what actually happened during that game to what the actual punishment was did not fit. And I think he could say it best, but Akeem Alou said it best in his tweet, where he said, end quote, this is a complete embarrassment. How are we as people of color ever supposed to trust the system when at every turn it fails to protect us on and off the ice, end quote. So, yeah, it is a frustrating thing to see because I remember the player who is being suspended here. He had that Instagram post where he said this alleged action, and then he said he didn't really say a sincere sorry about it. He just kind of said that, oh, I'm sorry if I offended somebody and all this stuff, but I know that was since deleted. But it just, I don't know, it just kind of felt like a damage control type of act other than actually owning up to what you did and what you did, because there was to what that was, there was obvious thinking there. It wasn't a spur of the moment kind of thing, that type of racist act.
The apology fit the format of the apologies or the explanations we've seen in the last 18 months. Montreal, Chicago, who I know I'm missing somebody.
Probably Arizona, the Mitchell Miller stuff.
Mitchell Miller. That to me, it fit that boat. Sorry, go ahead if you guys have anything else.
No, I was one thing of the apology I'd say it was rather what he was told to say rather than probably something sincere. Again, the apology was it was misunderstood. No, it wasn't. Come on now, eat a banana.
That's not
I think
apology.
It's pretty obvious what you were doing, man. And again, it's. And especially going to Mitchell Miller and Logan Mayu, especially looking at that, is the apology to the person that you hurt. And didn't happen in this either.
A lot of the comments I was also seeing, too, is people who are dismissing it or like, oh, whatever, it's an act, and who cares about this league? But it is a universal problem right now in hockey, right? The same a similar act happened to Wayne Simmons when he was on the Flyers during a preseason game in London, Ontario. So it is something that it is embedded in the sport that's we really need to fix this.
There's an issue, and I mean, I'd say there are viable solutions out there. This isn't a recent thing that people have noticed. This is a thing that people have noticed for years and years and years and years, probably going back before any of us were born. So to say this is a recent issue in the sport would be lying. It straight up be lying. And I just think to say who cares about this league is just disingenuous. Like it's the act that's the issue. I don't care. Like a crime is a crime. It doesn't matter if it was if someone stole something worth $20, worth $100,000, it's still a crime.
I want to say that someone tweeted out today. By the way, okay, freaking ignore just the whole integrity of the game and as a person, this guy clearly did not show. Apparently, in the IIHF are yet to give their verdict because I believe he is part of the Ukrainian national team or something along those lines. And actually, we saw this with Kuznetsov. There was an internal short-term suspension with a video with him that looked like to be some sort of white powder, and the IIHF has suspended him on their separate way. Shut up, dogs. That's not even my dogs. Those are the outside dogs. And the Caps gave him a week or something, I think it was. So that's a sort of added layer there. And to talk about remember Devontae Smith Pele a couple years ago? I want to say it was the year the Caps won the cup. Was in the box. He was sitting down and someone was telling him to go play basketball. I'm pretty sure PK Subban got something like that when the Habs were in Boston once.
Oh yeah, that was a playoff game, right?
I think it was, yeah. And then there was famously, this is still a while ago, but it's not again the first time it's happened to PK. When he was a kid and someone was going after him and his family, and it's a famous story of Steven Stamkos and his family stepped in. It was told around once Tampa won the cup in the bubble, but it's racism is not a new thing and it's not going away. So I mean. It's too light of a punishment. It's too light of a punishment, and hopefully the IIHF, who have a new president, by the way,
yeah,
they need to get this right too, and the Ukrainian league too.
It's 13 games. It's not even 13 games. So it's 13 games because he got a match penalty. Mm-hmm. So this actual suspension for this is 10 games. The actual act that they suspended him for was for 10 games, which to me, it's 13 games is low. 10 games is low. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's not even that. It's well, how are you going to deal with this in the future? You could say, oh, it's Eastern European cult. It's a thing in Eastern Europe. I don't care though. You can do it to make sure that within your game, I'm not asking you to, no one's asking anybody to change Eastern European cult, the way things are in Eastern Europe. They're asking you to change it within the game.
Not to mention, even looking at Europe, I know a lot of the times we're kind of it's obviously hockey's big in Canada. They're working on it in the States. But people forget sometimes that even if it's not a Ukrainian league, the SHL and that are still massive European leagues.
Yeah.
Where, that is a significant portion of player. Hey, Victor Hedman, ever heard of him? Pretty important. But Nikita Kucherov, Russian player, pretty important. Kind of an MVP. So I don't know what you're thinking about. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, the new IIHF president. What a way to come in, by the way. On your first week, this is your first thing you're dealing with. This is a way to really cement his legacy. I think this is a defining moment for him, Luc Tardif, who is succeeding Rene Fossel. This is quite big. So whatever their actions are, it's on him and for the rest of his tenure as IIHF president.
This was a proving ground, essentially. A huge case like this is okay, how are you going to deal with it? And I don't know. It just kind of, it's I don't know, why are they afraid to give, like, I just want to know, like, why are they afraid to give like a punishment that, you know, fits the crime?
The UHL.
Yeah. Or like essentially like wanting to kind of like, okay, that's what was given, and then WHF's like, okay, we're just gonna leave it like that.
You know, I don't think any of us are super familiar with the UHL, but you wonder, is this them seeing that it's a fair punishment? I don't know what their suspension history is even like, or if they've had similar incidents this before. Maybe it's not them thinking like, oh, I'm gonna get this right. Oh, we're gonna fail. Maybe they just thought, no, this is fine. This is good, lads. Which, if that is the case, it's like, okay, get your head a bit of a shake here, but. I would love to know their way of thinking it, Daniel. Is kind of, I'll agree with you there.